so swamped during the school year and so busy, and I'm cramped inside, and all I want to do all year is go hit some whitewater.
The river has made me who I am. It's just changed my life in every aspect. It has put me in situations that have tested me, and I've come through the other side a better guide and a better person.
But that's what's cool about it, is because we go out on the river and we respect the river, right? We respect the power that it has and the ability that it has to change people and teach people life lessons.
We need to respect this land because, you know, it's trying to respect us.
You as a guide have this opportunity to get to help people understand how incredible it is that they get to be in this place and that it deserves to be protected.
It's one place that a lot of us can find peace and get away from the hustle and bustle of life.
As much as I have carved through canyons, canyons have carved who I am.
I read an ad in my college newspaper saying that Western River Expeditions was looking for river guides, and I couldn't believe that that was actually a job. I am Brian Merrill, and I started with the company in 1984 as a river guide, and my title is CEO of the company. One of the biggest threats to waterways is pollution from, runoff from industrial or even agricultural applications, but it's also physical, more obvious waste, like things that get thrown into the river or that are thrown onto the banks of a river, and then when the water comes up, it washes it into the river and comes on downstream. I think the good news is that most people are mostly environmentally conscious, but a handful of people can cause a lot of damage. And then there are other threats to the environment along what they call the riparian environment along the edge of the river, the wildlife, the plants. All of these things are potentially impacted by human activity, and so we've, over the years, we've figured out ways to minimize our impact.
It's always been kind of Western's mission or our goals to tread lightly, to find ways that we can sustain the environment in which we work in. So I think in the past 50 years plus, we continually strive to lessen our footprint in the environment that we work in. My name is Jason Taylor. I work for a company called Western River Expeditions in Moab, Utah, and I have been with Western River Expeditions for about 15 years. Western has decided over the last few years what we can do to try to be more environmentally friendly, and one of the things that we discovered is that on our river trips, we take about 25,000 people down the river per year. One of the big wastes that we saw on the river was that we had to take water for people, and that we would take paper cups for people to use to drink out of during the day. A lot of times people would drink out of that cup, they'd throw it in the bottom of the boat, and then the river guides would have to try to gather up that trash before it flew out of the boat, and then inevitably a paper cup would end up going out of the boat. So we decided, got together and kind of talked about what could we do to make it so that we didn't have as much waste. We didn't have as much potential litter going into the river or into the environment or into landfills in the end. So we worked with a company and we developed a water bottle that we could give to each one of our customers. Obviously the water bottle is more expensive than a paper cup is, but for us, the long-term goal was to be able to provide, a better experience for our people. And also help us to reduce our waste and reduce the amount of garbage that goes into the river. I think one of the biggest challenges is we work in a wilderness setting. We work in a setting where we pack out what we pack in. We have limited space, we have limited resources for packing things out. So for us, a lot of it is just how can we get creative in packing all of our trash out? How can we get creative in packing human waste out of the wilderness without it impacting the guest experience in the wilderness. We do have an environmental impact. You know, there's no one in this world who doesn't. It's just doing things that minimize that impact. As we strive to do different things in our work and in our environment, it's definitely a delicate balance to try to balance, you know, a resource versus, you know, making a living. We have a lot of people who count on what we do to make a living. We have a lot of people who count on us to educate people about the backcountry. You know, you can't teach about the backcountry without going into the backcountry. It is a balancing act.
We consider ourselves educators, and it's our heartfelt belief that the way to protect these resources, the rivers specifically where we operate and any other place where we lead trips, is to have a big constituency that's ready to come in and defend it. So, for example, if the federal government decided they were going to build a dam in Grand Canyon, if they came up with that idea tomorrow, we feel like we could engage all of our past guests in a letter writing campaign. We could have a march on Washington, whatever it would take, because we have created in them a passion for the river. Our responsibility is to make them truly love these places and to care about it as well. That by the end of the trip, they're obsessing about picking every little bit of trash up off the beach, the way that our guides do, and that it becomes important to them. And because they have this personal connection to Desolation Canyon or to Westwater Canyon or whatever river stretch they rafted on, that they'll care about it, and they'll care about the protection of it if some threat comes up in the future. And then ideally it transfers back to home, you know. Somebody from, Silver Spring, Maryland or somewhere like that comes on one of our raft trips and there's a threat to the Potomac River, they're going to weigh in, you know. This is my river, this is my local river, and so I'm going to weigh in to protect it.